Swaggy Vet, attention! Right, pace, forward!
You are now on the set of the Swaggy Vet show. We do it for the sisters, bros from coast to coast. A place where it's safe to go to make sure that a soldier's stories are told. All around the globe, going worldwide, representing military pride. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
You should already be at the position of a 10 for them boys when they come out, the original first Swaggy veteran. And then you got that boy Big Pen. Hey man, salute me or shoot me. And if you ain't no vet, you better not talk like one.
Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Swaggy Vet Podcast. I'm your host, Big Pen. I got my co-host and my best friend here with me, first Swaggy Veteran. What's up, my man?
What's going on, Big Pen? What's going on, Swaggy Vets, all our friends and family? How y'all doing out there?
Man, got a little housekeeping. So we got the Warrior Weekend coming up in September 5th, 6th, and 7th. So if you want to come out and hang out with the Swaggy Vet crew, hit us up on social media. It's free for first responders and veterans. So if you guys want to come out and hang out with us, come out. Just hit us up. Now, we got a very special guest. We got one of my leaders that I used to have and my co-host leaders, and we were blessed to have him on the show today. So without further ado, we're going to bring to the stage Command Sergeant Major retired Armando Alfaro. All right, I got today's guest, Command Sergeant Major retired Armando Alfaro, a man forged by war and defined by leadership. With nearly 3 decades in uniform, Command Sergeant Major Alfaro led from the front, earned the trust of thousands, and never asked of his soldiers what he wasn't willing to do himself. He's the kind of leader who shaped warriors, built cohesion teams in chaos, and carried the weight of decisions most of us will never understand. This isn't just a story about service, it's a masterclass in leadership under fire. Welcome to the show, Sergeant Major. Oh, awesome. Now, do you think being an immigrant, having an immigrant background, did that feel pressure to prove yourself in the military, you think?
Oh, without a doubt. Obviously, and that's not just being an immigrant, but for everybody. When you're short, when you're tall, when you're fat, when there's a difference in you, people see it, people realize it, and they treat you differently. And just because they treat you differently, it means that they treat you in a different way. Like when you have a new soldier that comes into the army that's 6'3", 220 pounds, by the start, everybody thinks, hey, this guy's a leader, this guy's a stud, and that doesn't normally is the case. But again, he comes in with credibility because he's a big individual, where us guys that are a little different, maybe little different ethnicity, shorter in height, we have to prove ourselves because we don't come with that initial impact, with that initial credibility that others do. So yes, I think that helps us develop ourselves into better leaders, because those that accept that challenge and overcome that obstacle find a way to overcome it and make the best out of it.
How do you think you channeled that pressure into purpose?
Well, I think the way that you challenge it, like I said, it's all on that individual, because you can make that challenge either make you or break you. And in most cases, like I said, most of us that go into the military are type A type mentality. So most of us are already in that type of environment or that type of mindset that that they're going to take that as a challenge, and you're going to grow from that and make the best out of it and prove yourself, not just to be alike, but to be better.
Okay, that's awesome. So you kind of bottle your anger, fears, whatever you got, and kind of channel it towards something positive. I got you.
So amazing. Was there any family members that you had in the service, and if so, did they influence you in any type of way?
Oh yeah, a matter of fact, my older brother name is Augustine. He's when I was probably a sophomore in high school, I had the honor and the privilege of seeing him join the Marine Corps and see him graduate from boot camp in Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. And I remember still to this date seeing and seeing the hundreds of Marines marching by us, all in step, all in cadence, in that sharp uniform. That obviously made an impact on me. It made an impact where obviously I saw how proud he was for what he had accomplished. I saw how proud everybody else was for what they had accomplished. That made an impact, and obviously that's something that I carried with me, and something that made my decision to join the military a deciding factor.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you love our content, and we hope you do, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Let's go.
Mhm. And during your military service, was there ever a moment where you said, "This is not for me"?
Uh, there was. I mean, I think that everybody through life and in the military, there's certain times that you get challenged to the point that you're almost willing to turn your back, uh, drop to a knee, and say this is it. And I think for me, when I first came into the Army, like I said, I was expecting the military. I was expecting to be challenged militarily. I was expecting to be challenged physically, mentally. And the first assignment that I had was a artillery unit, a leg artillery unit. Unfortunately, the in that type of environment, the discipline was not there. I did not see the challenge of being in the military, or the physical challenge. It wasn't what I thought the military was supposed to be, and I think that turned around when I got assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division, where I had to prove myself from day one that I was part of the team, and I was challenged physically, mentally. I'm not going to say I was hazed, but I was welcomed into the unit, where obviously by the time that I went through that initial phases of being indoctrinated into the 82nd Airborne Division, I woke up and finally opened up my eyes and said, "Yeah, this is the Army I joined. This is the Army that I want to be. This is the Army where I need to be challenged physically, mentally, and obviously with a mission of the 82nd, where anytime that we jump out of a plane, the chance of an incident, of a catastrophic incident, is there. There was the physical and mental challenges. So yeah, it made me earn my keep as a paratrooper, and it made me believe in the Army, and it made me feel that, hey, I finally found the home that I was looking for.
Did you have any? So your first unit was a leg unit.
My unfortunately, and I hate to say that, but it was. My first unit was in Fort Knox, Kentucky. It was artillery unit, and like I said, I was disappointed. I just
Yeah.
got disappointed with the caliber of leadership, the caliber of soldier, and like I said, it was night and day. The caliber and what made the 82nd so successful, and you guys can attest to this, was the caliber of individual that gets attracted to a unit like that. And when you have an individual who willingly volunteers for an assignment where the possibility is your life or somebody else's life, that's a different type of caliber of individual. And you saw it in our within the 82nd, every unit that you were in, they understood that. They understood that when the leadership said something, you followed it. You followed what they told you, because you knew that obviously they knew what they were talking about, and they knew the severity of what would happen if you didn't follow those orders. So yeah, I mean that's how I that's what made me feel that the 82nd was where I needed to be.
Was it kind of like a breath of fresh air coming to that kind of discipline when you came to 82nd, or what was your first thoughts?
It was because, like I said, I was at that point that I had almost decided to get out of the army
Mm,
because, like I said, I didn't when, and I think that that goes for everyone that joins the army or the military. When they join the military, they expect to be in the military, but when you go to organizations that lacks in standards and discipline and in leadership, that brings morale down on the soldier, and obviously it deteriorates the mission of that unit. But with the organization of the 82nd, like I said, you knew that the mission was important. You knew that the mission could cause somebody's life if you failed to do what you had to do in the aircraft. So you knew the importance of what you were doing, and obviously you knew of how critical what you needed to do was, and how everybody else depended on what you had to do.
absolutely. So you got quite a bit of combat experience. Did you ever have a moment in the combat zone, like an intense moment that you can share with us?
Well, Bradley, there was there's a few. You know, I was involved obviously when we as a leader,
Mm-hmm.
and I know during our combat experiences in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, we ran what we called the combat logistics patrols. And in most cases, most of our combat logistics patrols were seeing more action than our actual combat soldiers, our infantry guys,
Yeah.
and all that. So, and I, as a leader, obviously, it was important for us to show our face, to be part of those combat logistics patrols as we could, so soldiers saw that we were there with them, that we were part of them. And obviously, I saw incidents where we were ambushed at times, where we had to suppress fire. I had incidents, obviously, uh, where um, where we had a lot of close type contact situations like that. But I think the ones that really touched me the most is during our ramp site ceremonies, where we actually lost some
Mm,
paratroopers when we were in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we actually obviously had to conduct those ramp site ceremonies to escort our fallen paratroopers back home. And every single incident and situation and ceremony that we had for one of my fallen paratroopers obviously broke my heart.
mm.
There were obviously tough situations because
Yeah.
you expected to come back with everybody, but you didn't.
Yeah.
But uh, but
Did
yeah,
did
it was tough. And needless to say, all my paratroopers went through it, and
yes,
I was just happy to be their part of that team.
yes, sir. Did you how'd you mentally prepare for all that? Because that's a big thing, especially being a leader, having a lot of soldiers under you. Did you have a way of mentally preparing yourself, or you just kind of?
Well, I'll tell you what, the only way to mentally prepare yourself and your paratroopers is to train. As you guys know, there's always two words that I preach to my paratroopers was standards and discipline. And the
Absolutely.
way that you develop your standards and discipline is training, training, training. Because the more you train, the more you develop confidence in these individuals. And I can tell you that my paratroopers were confident. They were confident in their abilities. And being, as a leader, being around your paratroopers, having them see that you're willing to do the missions with them, and not just me as a command sergeant major, but all the leaders. I saw all my leaders knee deep involved with their paratroopers. They saw that, they appreciated that, and that shows that that you care for them, and that's how you mentally prepare them for what's coming, is by ensuring, one, that you train them, you train until you build up proficiency, and then you got to build their confidence. You got to win their confidence by obviously being around your soldiers, your paratroopers. You got to be there with them during training, talking to them, finding out about your soldiers, finding out who they are, finding out and letting them know that you care. One, by ensuring that that you're there to train them, to prepare them, and two, by gaining their confidence, not necessarily gaining the friendship, because that's not what leadership is all about.
Mhm.
But earning the respect of a leader to your soldiers. They see that, and I think that's the major aspect of preparing your soldiers for what's unexpected in a combat situation.
Was there ever a time, either downrange or garrison, or maybe in a training environment, you had to make a life or death decision? And like, how'd you process it when you did?
Well, and I mean, to start off in garrison, like I said, when you're in an environment like the 82nd Airborne Division or Ranger Regiment, where I said where you're expected to be proficient in jumping out of planes, just the mere fact of jumping out of a planes can cause a catastrophic incident. I've been involved with obviously several parachute fatalities. So yeah, being in those types of units, that's expected. Obviously, as a jump master, once you earn that title of jump master, it's just not a title but a responsibility.
Oh
Because
yeah.
obviously, you got to make sure that by being that jump master, you're enforcing, you're executing those standards that will keep those soldiers, those paratroopers alive. So every time they get out on that aircraft, it's a life or death situation if you don't do your job. And obviously in combat, there were several times. Like I said, there was a couple. There's several convoy logistics patrols where we were involved in some ambushes. We had to suppress fire to obviously make sure that we did what we had to do. Obviously, they weren't too severe because we didn't take any casualties during those incidents. Uh, but uh, but yeah, there's every time while you're in combat. I mean, you can't get complacent. You can't get too comfortable because you don't know what's going to happen. So just being in combat, my hats off to everybody who's deployed, because the chance of something happening is always there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you've, obviously you've been a lot of deployments, JRTC and TC, going to the field. Has there ever been like really hard goodbye that you had to say before going to any of those that you remember?
Personally, I mean, they were all hard because I have three kids, and I think I missed most of all their graduations. We there was, unfortunately, it was during peak OEF and OIF, so we were always deployed. Um, it was tough. It was every single time that I had to deploy, leave the family. It was tough. But as a leader, and especially being Type A and being 82nd Airborne Division, it's looked as a weakness to show your emotions. Um, and I try not to. I try to hide that because obviously I wanted to make sure that my paratroopers were ready. I wanted to make sure that my NCOs and all my younger leaders were ready to deploy. So you didn't want to show that. I know every single deployment was tough. If it was tough for me, I know it was tougher for the younger paratroopers, for the younger leaders. So you didn't want to show it. So yeah, to say the least, yeah, it was tough. Every single deployment, every time that I left home, was a tough one for me.
Okay, absolutely.
So, Major, was there anyone uh, throughout the ranks that influenced your leadership?
There's there's several people that you learn from. And matter of fact, there's always good and bad to learn from everyone. When you have bad leaders, there's always something to learn from that, and you got to look at that because you got to look at what not to do that doesn't work. So I had some bad leaders, Matter of fact, quick story: when I was a young specialist, I would always get dogged out by this NCO. He was I think it was an E6 at the time, and he just for some reason didn't care for me. But I learned from him. I learned his technique, what he was doing, and what he was not doing. So I knew what I needed to do. And eventually, like 4 years later, I went to Enoch and I saw the same NCO. He was still in E6 and I was in E7. So that was that was kind of an ironic thing. But like I said, there's always good leaders and bad leaders to learn from. And as you develop as a soldier, as a young paratrooper, young NCO, it's important that you look at every leader out there and learn from them. But there was one leader specifically that I remember growing up in the 82nd Airborne Division, and by the name of Command Sergeant Major Kenny Taylor. As you guys know, most of us 82nd paratroopers were Type A. We're very loud. We make our presence known, and if you're in charge, show that you're in charge. But my Command Sergeant Major Kenny Taylor, he very quiet individual. He had a unique ability to make his presence known, to make you feel as small as can be without ever raising his voice. And I admired that of him. A strong individual, strong leader that never had to raise his voice for whatever point he wanted to make. If it was an ass chewing he was giving you, he never rose his voice, but you knew that you were getting an ass chewing. So great man, great individual, and yeah, he's probably one of the leaders that I really respected and obviously care for very much.
I remember
You know what, the
Sergeant Major Taylor.
leaders, I can imagine as a sergeant major, you learned from some junior soldiers as well as you was coming through the ranks that you could put in your tool bag.
Oh, you always do, and that's one thing that I remember. It was important for me to go around and talk to every paratrooper that I had. We had different specialties within the BSB, the main. We had the transporters, the medics, the mechanics, the drivers. We had them all. And one thing that I learned about paratroopers, younger paratroopers, they love talking about what they do. They love showing off what they do, and I enjoyed that. I always learned. I was not a subject matter expert with vehicle transportation or maintenance, but I made it a point to learn from every single soldier. And allow them the opportunity to tell me what they did, because one, they love to tell you what they do. And again, and that was the way that I got the opportunity to know them and obviously know a little bit about them. And yeah, it's every single soldier out there would teach me something. When we were out there doing PT, I always made it a point to do PT with my NCOs once a month, and I always made it a point to make to do PT with all my lower enlisted once a month. And you always have those lower enlisted, those young Joes, young paratroopers that wanted to show off. Hey, Sergeant Major, let me call this cadence, and I love that. You had that guy that wanted to go out there and take charge, and just, I mean, that was it was impressive. It's impressive to say the least. So yeah, it's there is always something to learn from the younger Joes.
Hmm. And like as for myself, like I didn't become a leader without failing a couple of things, you know. So was there any situations in your career where you felt like you failed as a leader, and if so, what did you learn from it?
Uh, I mean, I think that we all have certain humbling experiences. I lost some paratroopers because of accidents in Afghanistan. We had a rollover, and I don't know if you guys remember, we lost PFC Gutierrez and Sergeant McDonald and Alan Austin. And I'll tell you what, that hit hard because obviously that makes you feel like a failure uh, for uh, for obviously an incident that could have been obviously prevented. It made me feel bad because at that point I was not part of that convoy logistics patrol. And as a leader, you just can't help but blame yourself for, hey, I could have done something more. I could have been there, part of that convoy logistics patrol, and provided more influence, more input, and kept my soldiers safe. So yeah, certain times like that obviously that made a big impact, and make you feel like you just weren't there or did enough to keep them safe.
Mm.
Right, so, Roger that, Sergeant Major. So I know you was big on, standards and discipline as a
Mhm.
Sergeant Major, and also you was you was a disciplinarian. So how did you end up balancing that with taking care of soldiers during your time?
Well, see, and that's what's important, because as a leader, the way that you take care of your soldiers is by showing them the standard. Uh, you show them the standards by enforcing discipline, by enforcing and showing them the standard. And a lot of new leaders today, they mistaken, and that's how you learn, how you earn your respect. And a lot of new leaders and a lot of leaders tend to get friendship and respect confused, because being a leader is about earning the respect of your paratroopers, your soldiers. And like I said, that's earned by enforcing the standards and the discipline. And if that means you're going to choose somebody ass one day, that's what's going to happen. But there's got to be a learning point behind that ass chewing. Um, Being a friend, you start getting soldiers complacent. They start getting comfortable with you, and that's when things go wrong. Soldiers don't understand um, what you're doing, and why you're enforcing standards and discipline so hard until later on in their career, when they mature and they realize that's why Sergeant Major or Sergeant Jones or Sergeant Pennington was doing that, because he actually took care of me. He actually cared for me. So you care, and you show that you care for an individual by showing them the standards and the discipline through tough, realistic standards, and that's how you earn their respect. It's not about friendship; it's about respect.
Mhm. 100%. So, besides, because you were leadership for a long time, you had a lot of soldiers underneath you in your leadership. Besides standards and discipline, what's some good advice that you gave soldiers that still resonates with you today? Do you think?
I think example,
Mm,
providing when you're in a leadership position, example is key. There
there you
should
go.
be no question of what the example, what the standard is. When I stand up or a leader stands in front of his formation, he should know what the standard is. If that regulation says that you have a clean shaven face, then that's how you show up. Um, if that regulation states that you got to have a tapered or a fade type haircut, then that's how you show up. Bottom line, when you're in charge as a leader, example is key. And there should never be a question of who's in charge. The individual, the leader, makes his presence known just by the way he looks and the way he talks.
Okay. Did you ever have a soldier? Maybe you had a couple of them, but maybe one in particular that you had to rescue from themselves. Do you think? And what happened to them?
There were several. As a matter of fact, I know there's while we were deployed, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's certain soldiers there's one individual that was at that point that he's at that breaking point. He was
Hmm.
a young E5, and but that's as a leader, that's why it's important uh, that you talk to all your soldiers, because soldiers are very they're very tight-lipped. They're very proud. They want to take care of their own problems, but there's cases where they can't do that. And as a leader, it's important that you obviously go around, talk to your soldiers, and see if something's off. And in this case, obviously, I saw that this individual just was not acting right. There was something that was going on in his personal life, and obviously that was affecting his performance. And that's the time that obviously you got to talk to them, pull them aside, and reinforce obviously what they're doing, and just provide them some assistance, some help, and sometimes just talking to them to show them that somebody cares is all they need. And I mean, this individual, I'm very proud of him. This was during Iraq. And yeah, he retired out of the army. He was successful. And he was kind of, he's, and it makes me proud and to see individuals overcome certain issues that they had, especially during deployed environments. Because you guys know when you're deployed, you're very limited on what you can do and what resources are available. And that's where leaders are key, where you need to know your soldiers and find out what's going on with them so you can provide assistance or just talk to them. Because in most cases, that's all they need. That's the only outlet they need to help them out.
All right. So, Sergeant Major, what would you say was your personal why that that you put that kept you putting on the uniform every day throughout your career?
I'll tell you what, the personal why for me was proud. I was extremely proud of wearing the Army uniform. I was extremely proud of wearing the double A's on my shoulder. Not only are the double A's my initials, but then that division, I went through good times and bad times, but I had the opportunity to share them with the best human beings that there is in this planet. Both of you are part of those. Obviously, like I said, the caliber of soldier, of human being that gets attracted to that division is unlike any other division. That's why when people say, "Where do you come from?" I come from the division. They automatically know what division you're speaking about. So pride is what made me wear that uniform on a daily basis with that beret cocked to the right just a little bit. Hey, I was nonstop. I had a pep in that step, and they knew I was coming.
Hey,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Hey, that's a good one. And what Army value that you feel like that you held the most dear to you throughout your career?
Say that again, Jonesy.
What Army value that you think you held dear to you the most throughout your
Well,
career?
it's got to be loyalty. Loyalty is probably the biggest value that I think I hold nearest to my heart. Because I'll tell you what, I have loyalty obviously to my family. I have loyalty to my friends. I have loyalty to the United States Army. I have loyalty to the 82nd Airborne Division. And most of all, I have loyalty to my paratroopers that I had the opportunity and privilege to serve with, to share the fields of combat with them, to share that C-130, C-17 in no dark 30 hours when everybody's still asleep. I have loyalty to all those. So loyalty by far is probably the word and value that I hold nearest to my heart. And like I said, with loyalty, uh, there's nothing I wouldn't do for any of my family members, my friends, and obviously my paratroopers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So before somebody we talked about we were talking about some people sometimes have disadvantages, like you was talking about height and background. In the early challenges. How'd you turn that? How'd you turn your disadvantages into fuel?
And that's important, because and all your disadvantages or whatever, I take them as obstacles,
Okay.
because that's what develops you into what you're gonna be. Either you're gonna roll around and fail, or you're gonna overcome those obstacles and make you better. So those disadvantages that I had provided me the fuel to be not just like all the others, but better. Uh, when obviously being of short stature and all that, and you have these tall 6'3" studs who say, "I'm going to smoke you in the PT." Well, let's get it on. That was
Yeah.
the challenge that I needed. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's you take those challenges, those disadvantages as just that, as challenges, because those will develop you into a better person, into a more successful person, and obviously. develop you into a successful individual.
Awesome. Now, when you were coming up, did you face any doubts or from your peers and leaders? And how'd you break through them if you did?
Well, you always do. Like I said, coming into the army, like I said, a young Hispanic kid. Uh, when I first came in the army, was 125. I would. They needed a detail or whatever. Hey, where's Private Alfaro? Well, here I am. But where we need somebody to do this, where's Private Alfaro? Well, here I am. But because of my background, I'm used to doing the dirty work, and I excelled in it. So that was nothing to me. But obviously, like I said, coming from sticking out and being a little different, always stuck out. And obviously, for some reason or another, they would pick on me, but that just made me stronger. That provided me more fuel, provided more fuel to be better, not better, but be the best of whatever I was doing. So it didn't matter what detail they had me. I was the best sweeper, the best latrine cleaner, whatever. I excelled in it. And I think all that provided me fuel to be the best that I could be, and obviously a successful leader, and hopefully take care of my troops in a better way.
Absolutely.
Hey, Sergeant Major, so did being part of the 82nd in your career, does it help you out any with the man you are in your civilian career?
Well, sure. Being part of the 82nd, first of all, I served a total of 26 years in the Army. 20 of those were in the 82nd Airborne Division. I thank God and my lucky stars for that, because, like I said, that developed me into the individual I am. And I'll tell you what, I've always been with the 82nd Airborne Division. I've always been Type A. I wanted to be in charge. I wanted to make sure that I was the best. And I tried to change when I retired. I tried to mellow out more. I tried to change who I was, and that didn't work. Bottom line is what works for me is take charge. Be in the lead. Don't change who you are, and you'll be okay. And the 82nd developed me into, I think, a successful leader as what I do here in the civilian world. Not only do I want to be a good safety officer, I want to be the best. And I think that shows by the accolades that the Corps has received here. We've been like the best Corps safety office like for 6 years running, not because we're a good safety office, but we're the best safety office. So yeah, I take that. I took that from the 82nd and the challenges that I had growing up and going into the Army. That just being one of them is not good enough. Being the best is what you got to strive for.
Awesome.
And yeah, and since you're retired now, transition out of the active duty, what does the word veteran mean to you now?
I'll tell you what, it means a lot. One, for any veteran out there, obviously, after serving my country, serving in the United States Army, uh, I want to thank everybody for their service, but you really don't understand the importance of what it means to be a veteran. Uh, until you actually retire and you start seeing from the outside what you did, uh, those individuals that obviously have sacrificed and have done this and that, where most of the citizens of our country are not willing to do. I'll tell you what, my hat's off to them, because again, it takes a special individual to serve his country, that is willing to leave his family in a moment's notice, and most importantly, an individual who is willing to sacrifice his life for others in his country. My hat's off to him. So, with anybody with the title veteran, again, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you've done. I appreciate what you've done, and who you are and what you've done. So yeah, it's a big title to have. It's a title that you should be proud of, and obviously I'm proud of what you've done. So when somebody says thank you for your service, hey, there's a lot that you have done to earn that title, veteran. So thank you.
100%. I remember when Sergeant Major Farrell got out, and we used to go to the same gym, the Omni Gym, and I'd see him in there sometimes. Like, you still doing your PT? You still keeping up with stuff, aren't you? Okay, good. I always squaring people away, and I just remember that resonates, and it goes to show what how good of a leader that you were. So we appreciate you for that. So, is there any point in your career that you could go back and feel it again? Like you have a sense of pride. Like, man, I wish I could relive that again. Is there any point that you could go and change, or not change, but to relive it?
Well, I tell you, my funnest time and with division was probably as a first sergeant. And the reason why I say that is because as a first sergeant, the paratroopers were mine. The paratroopers, every single paratrooper, I made an impact on them because again, they were my paratroopers to train, to develop, and to mold into paratroopers. And that, in that position as first sergeant, I believe, is the only time, other than obviously platoon sergeant, but first sergeant, it really paid off for me. It really, I think it was probably one of my funnest times as a leader in the 82nd Airborne Division, because like I said, it gave me the opportunity to really get hands on with my paratroopers, really get hands on with my platoon sergeants, and yeah, it was a very fun time. It was a very rewarding time as a leader and a paratrooper in the 82nd.
Yeah. So you like training soldiers, and you like to be in there with them. Did you feel as you progressed through the ranks, like after you became a first sergeant, and sergeant major, you kind of get away from the soldiers?
That is true, and it's a different level because once you're in the battalion level, you're basically developing your first sergeants. That's who you're
Mm-hmm.
talking with. You're providing guidance, you're providing intent, and that's it. Your first sergeants are actually the ones that, are, like I said, they're executing your guidance for training and all that. So yeah, it's a different level. It's more management of first sergeants. At that level. But I'll tell you what, I was probably blessed with having the best first arms that anybody could have asked for when we were in 782nd, because we had rock stars like, I'm not sure if you guys remember, a guy named Bernard Smalls, you know, a rock star. That individual was, and still to this day, I respect everything that he did and how he did it. We had First Sergeant Perry from Alpha Company, another rock star. Matter of fact, I believe he's still serving, and he's been to almost every echelon for the sustainment side and the command sergeant major side that he can. And I'll tell you what, a story about First Sergeant Perry. First Sergeant Perry, when I first met him, was the dining facility manager, and I met him, and I met him with a good ass chewing. I forgot what he was doing, but I'll tell you what, he appreciated the ass chewing he got because he came back and said, "Sergeant Major, I appreciate that. I appreciate what you did and how you did it. And as a matter of fact, if it's okay with you, when I make E8, I want you to give me the opportunity to be a first sergeant." Then I said, "Sure, not a problem." I saw the individual develop, and I'll tell you what, sure thing. As soon as he became an E8, he came back to me and said, "Sergeant Major, it's time. I made my E8. I want you to give me a company." And I gave him a company, and tell you what, he's successful from that day on. But you see that in individuals that have it or they don't. And this individual, First Sergeant Perry, a rock star again. He had it. Tremel Finch, another individual, great first sergeant. First Sergeant Brooks from the medic side, great first sergeant. First Sergeant Fetty, probably the best first sergeant that the rigger company has ever had, and probably will ever have. Like I said, I still work with the 18th Airborne Corps, and I see the level of leadership that we have now. I see the level of leadership that the riggers had, and I'll tell you what, there will never be another First Sergeant Fetty in the rigger company. I wish they had one, but First Sergeant Fetty, by far, one of the best first sergeants that I had. But like I said, I was blessed to be with first sergeants that share my leadership philosophy, that shared what they needed to do uh, to do their job, and that understood what my intent and what my guidance is. So yeah, it's by far my job was easy at the battalion level because I had nothing but rock stars as first sergeants.
Mm. So after nearly 3 decades of service, and now you've been out, and you still work with the military now. For how long have you been in your position? Quite a while.
I retired in 2009. So now you guys are gonna make me feel old. But I retired in 2009, and I was actually hired as the 82nd Sustainment Brigade Safety Officer first, and then I eventually got hired in the Corps level, and now I'm with as the Deputy Safety Director for about the last 10 years.
Okay. So what does service to country mean to you now after the uniform and you still working? Is it still the same or any different or
It never changes. You know, we will go through challenges and with certain leadership, certain government officials, but it never changes. You got to remember the service to country is for our country,
Mhm.
and that's what we do. Because serving our country means that we get the opportunity to serve the American public, the American citizens. So you do the best you can to serve our country, to serve these young men and women that I serve with, because it's our responsibility to share what we know, to share what we learn, because ultimately we need to make sure that we do what we can to keep our country safe and keep our soldiers safe from whatever they're doing.
Okay, awesome.
Sergeant Major, besides keeping your, let's see, your form of how, your direct form of approach, your type A mentality, what other challenges did you face with transitioning to the civilian life?
I'll tell you what, transitioning to civilian life was scary for me because you know, first coming into the army, when I came into the army, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to use the army as a stepping stone to really think of what was it that I was meant to do um, in life, and I figured that being in the army would allow me the opportunity to think it over and and know what is it that I wanted to do. But the day I retired, I looked up, you know, I looked upon everything that I have done, and I thought to myself, well, you know what? Now I know what I was meant to do in my life, and that was serving my country. I was honored to be able to obviously have the opportunity to do what I was meant to do. Uh, and leaving the army was the biggest transition because I used to think, what am I going to do? And I think that's what a lot of the retirees that are preparing to retire find it difficult. What am I going to do after doing so many years in the army? What's my next chapter going to and look like? And I'll tell you what, the unknown is always scary. I mean, that's just part of life, and it is. But with everything that we have learned and done in the army, we are levels above our civilian counterparts when it comes to managing tasks, managing people, responsibility. We are levels above our civilian counterparts that we will have no problem finding something to do and be successful at it. So yeah, transitioning was very difficult to me because, like I said, I had the opportunity to obviously um, do what I wanted to do, and the unknown, I didn't know what I was going to do because I was, like I said, I thought that was it. What else could I do? But when was offered the opportunity to serve as a safety officer, which basically is working with the soldiers just out of uniform, I never left the army. You know, I'm still able to talk to the soldiers, to the commanders, provide them guidance and recommendations, and they take it. You know, they take my guidance, my recommendations because they know my credibility. They know that I've been there, that I've done that, and what I do and how I say it, how I approach it. They obviously take that in consideration and they use it to their advantage to do what they're supposed to do, the right thing. So for anybody who's transitioning out of the military, don't be afraid. It's scary knowing that you're going to retire, but you are levels above your civilian counterparts, and there's something out there that you will find, and not only will you be good, but you'll be the best at it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great answer, Sergeant Major. And
Well
right
put.
now, what are your short term and long term goals now that you're looking forward to?
Obviously, my short-term goals that I'm looking at, obviously, just doing what I got to do, doing the best I can as a safety officer, deputy safety officer, with these upcoming missions that we got coming up. As a safety officer, we're still plugged in with every operation, whether it be deployable, a training environment. We're still part of that. We still advise those commanders and all that. And my focus on my short-term goals is to make sure that we do the right thing by providing the right information, the right guidance to those commanders, and to talk to those soldiers and keep them safe. My long-term goal is obviously retirement. Um, these batteries that I'm wearing are wearing out. So I don't know, maybe a couple more years, and we'll look at fully retiring and enjoying the rest of of my last chapter.
So, what's one lesson for your military experience that you still apply today? Like all your experiences in the military, leadership, and everything. How do you keep a daily routine uh, in your civilian life? What are some experiences you took from the military now you apply in civilian life?
Well, it's I still have that physical routine. I still go to the gym on a daily basis. I think it's important for us to continue that. Because I've seen too many retired soldiers that retire and they stop doing anything, and before you know it, they croak. And the body is just like a vehicle engine. If you don't use it, don't utilize it, it's going to freeze up on you. So
Mhm.
that's one thing that I would recommend. You just got to try to stay active, and that's what I do. I try to stay active, doing going to the gym on a daily basis. I still try to give some to the community. I love teaching. I love instructing, so I volunteer my time as a wrestling coach. I'm coaching my grandsons and coaches, so I like that. I like to give back, and that gets me back to what I'm good at. I like developing young kids. That's all I can develop now since I've run that soldiers. But yeah, I still try to stay active with PT and trying to stay active with the community by doing some coaching with my grandkids.
Okay, awesome. Now, through your military career and now as a civilian doing safety stuff, you're still working with soldiers. You've coached, mentored, and led a lot. And you mentioned in how can I put this? What's one moment with a young soldier or civilian you mentored that reminds you why you do what you do? Is there any? I kind of frame that a little weird. So, is there any particular soldier or civilian that you mentor now that's like, okay, this is why I do what I do?
Sure. It's unfortunately with what we do in the Army safety community, we have metrics for every accident, for every fatality
Okay.
that we have out there. As you guys know, the we just recently had an M88 rollover in Lithuania that belonged to 3rd Infantry Division. That was one of ours, where we lost 4 soldiers that were trapped in that M88.
Oh wow.
We had an accident in Fort Stewart where we lost some soldiers because of a rollover in JLTV. And we had, we see a lot of all the accidents, we see a lot of the fatalities, and that reminds us why we're doing what we're doing, why we're sharing our experiences that we learned throughout the Army. And when we go out to these commanders and talk to these soldiers, we talk to them and share these lessons learned to help again the commanders and the soldiers to help them keep them safe. So yeah, I get reminded by every time that we have an incident or accident within the Corps or the Army of what we're doing, why we're doing it, why it's important for us to continue to talk to the soldiers and the commanders based on the experience that we have and hopefully guide them to how we can fix certain issues.
Okay. So if you could go back, a couple years ago and talk to 18-year-old Armando Alfaro before he went to basic training, what kind of advice would you give him?
Well, I would tell them two things: enjoy the ride, because I'll tell
Okay.
you what, it's been a roller coaster ride. Like I said, every single day in the Army was an adventure,
Yep.
and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenges. I enjoyed the ass chewings I got because it made me into a better man, into a better soldier. I enjoyed the opportunity to travel all over the world. It has been an experience. It has been an opportunity that I would recommend to anyone. Enjoy the ride is what I would tell that young, scared 18-year-old Armando Alfaro was getting ready to deploy to basic training, scared, nervous, not knowing what's going to happen. I would tell him, relax and enjoy the ride.
Awesome. That's some great advice.
So, Sergeant Major, what do you do now in your free time or as far as activities that help you stay grounded, spiritually, mentally, emotionally? What are the things that you do now?
Well, yeah, and that's one. It's a good thing. You got to stay grounded. You got to talk to people. It's important for you to have a good network of friends that understand you, that understand where you've been, that understand what you've done. And I have, because of what I do, and the individuals that we hire to do these jobs, they basically have a similar background and upbringing in the military as I have, and that allows me obviously to vent and stay grounded with certain aspects of what's going on with the family. You got to spend family time. Like I said, I have 11 beautiful grandkids that keep me busy, and they keep me grounded. Oh, do they keep me grounded? But anyways, yeah, you got to spend family time. Don't forget about yourself. Like I said, you got to work out. You got to go out there, go to the gym, take a walk, take the dog, the cat on a walk, whoever. But stay active. Do whatever you have to do. And if you have time and you're fully retired or you can volunteer some time, do it. There's a lot of young kids, a lot of young folks that that can learn a lot about you. I always have the time to talk to some of the folks that are some of the young kids that are working out at the gym, some of the kids that I'm wrestling. Talk to them. They'll listen to you. There are certain kids that have some issues that you may not know about that you may be able to help. Go out there, talk to them, give back a little to the community that obviously has done much for us.
Right. And then after all your time that you served from now to civilian, you said you want to retire again. Uh, how do you want? How would you wish to be remembered? What would you hope that people said about you throughout your career?
Uh, that's a good question. Uh, Caring. I think I would want to be considered and think of a caring individual, uh, showing that I didn't. He gave me an ass chewing because he cared for me, because there was something that I learned from that. It wasn't that I wanted to be mean. It wasn't that I wanted to pick on you. It's because there was something that I want you to learn, and that is actually being caring. I want them to remember me as a caring individual, as somebody who cared with obviously a strong hand, but that was cared about you, that obviously would do it again but I would like to be remembered as a caring individual.
Mm-hmm. And what message would you like to leave with those that still trying to find their purpose after the uniform?
Again, for those of you that still finding your purpose, like I said, don't sell yourself short, because the experience that you have, what you have learned in the Army, what you have done, you are levels above your civilian counterpart. You have a lot to offer. Go out there. You know, if you want to work, you'll be successful in whatever you do. Because, like I said, when you compare yourself to your civilian counterpart, your levels above them. But like I said, with all that experience, what I would challenge you guys, like I said, give back a little bit to the community. Go out to volunteer your services. Go talk to folks. Go to a convalescent center, or and go out there and talk to these old timers. Some of these guys have stories that you would not believe. Share your time. Talk to people. But yeah, don't sell yourself short with what you do. Go out there and give a little back.
100%.
That's right, and
That's great advice.
that's right. And so I appreciate you for your time for giving back, because that's why I created this show, so you can hear other positive and goal driven veterans, to let them know that there's people out there that's still moving forward with type A mentalities. So you inspired me, you inspired Big Pen, and
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys inspire me, because, like I said, now that I get the opportunity to walk around and I run into old Specialist Jonesy, now Ranger Tab, First Sergeant retired,
Jones.
Pennington.
Yeah.
They, what you guys, I really, and walking around, I had the opportunity to walk around Fort Campbell, and Fort Stewart, Fort Bragg, and I run into all my old specialists, old lieutenants. Some of them are one-star generals. Some of them are command sergeant majors. Some of you guys are retired. One, it makes me feel old, but it makes me feel proud, because that makes me feel that I left prints pretty deep because of you guys.
100%.
All right, well, Sergeant Major, I personally appreciate you for coming on the show, and we thank you for everything that you've done, and hope you have another second great career. We appreciate you from my heart, from the Swaggy Vets. We appreciate everything that you've done for us, and thanks for coming on the show, brother.
Thank you so much.
No, I want to thank you both, and again for obviously providing this forum that's an outstanding forum. I want to thank you both for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit about myself. And obviously, I want to tell you both that I'm very proud of what you guys are doing, and I'm very proud to call you my paratroopers and my brothers.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. 100%. Well, thanks y'all for tuning in, watching. Until the next time, stay swaggy, stay strong. Peace.